Good evening and welcome to the channel Sociology Unboxed. Uh, Friends, after North, South, and East, we are now in West to talk to Professor Vidyut Joshi about our series Reinventing Indian Sociology. So, as we know, Professor Vidyut Joshi has held several coveted positions in the discipline and in the field of sociology, in fact. He has been Vice Chancellor of Bhavnagar University. He has been Director, Center for Social Studies, Surat, and Director, LG Institute of Management Studies. He has been visiting professor at Sardar Patel Institute of Social and Economic Research, Ahmedabad. He has also been Professor Emeritus at Gujarat Vidyapeeth and Nirmala University. Currently, he is Honorary Director of Institute for Equity and Development as at Gujarat Vidyapeeth. He has been consultant to ILO, UNESCO, and World Bank. And as president, he has been associated with Narmada Abhiyan. So, over all these years, Professor Vidyut Joshi's contributions to the discipline of sociology has been immense, and in recognition of his contributions to the discipline, Indian Sociological Society has conferred him with the Lifetime Achievement Award. So, Professor Joshi, I'm happy and to welcome you to the series Reinventing Sociology. So far, I have highlighted the positions that you have occupied. Would you like to throw light in detail about the key milestones of your academic journey?
Yes, thank you, Professor Shweta Prasad. In fact, it so happened that I studied under a teacher who was a student of BHU and Kashi Vidyapeeth and a student of Narendra Dev and Rajaram. So that taught me to a level of consciousness to sociology, and when I was in high school, I decided to do sociology. It was my commitment to do something from a research point of view for a larger good of society that I came to sociology, and that attracted IP Desai also, and he asked me to be a student, and I did my PhD under Professor IP Desai and spent 10.5 years of my life, active life, formative life with Professor Desai. That has built my sociological perspective, and I believe that sociology, if rightly taken, can analyze the social problem and contribute to development of rather a sustainable development of society. You have any question, or should I begin?
Yeah, sorry, I was speaking and I was on mute. So, thank you for highlighting your brief academic journey, very brief, but with the stalwarts of sociology. So, with these words, may I ask you to discuss the current state of sociology in India? Sociology has completed 100 years, few years back. So, how do you see the current state of sociology in India?
I, I would go a bit in the background. When the first generation and second generation sociologists came to India, three clear approaches emerged. One approach was Indologist approach, adopted by Gurye and Mukherjee and other first generation sociologists, and later on Srinivas and IP Desai. And they contributed in terms of little tradition, great tradition, or Sanskritization and such Indian sociological concepts, and tried to Indianize sociology. That went on for some time. The another approach was that of liberal approach. Liberal approach again had two sets. One was Gore Damle approach, that was structural functional and empiricist approach. Uh, Collecting data, conducting survey, analyzing data and giving report. That was what they did. But on the other hand, Srinivas and other people believed more in evolutionary anthropology and observation, and more on qualitative data. The third set was of Marxist sociologists, Akshay Kumar Desai and Ramakrishna Mukherjee, beautifully analyzed Indian sociology, but from a deductive point of view, they analyze sociology more than from inductive point of view. When we became independent, the demand before sociology changed. We were asked to become part of the plant development and do some research work for development of India. That's how Dubey went to planning commission, and that's how Srinivas was involved in all these development activities. That's how IP and other people were involved in development research. Uh, but it was around 1980 and particularly in 1990 that this sort of faith started shaking. The Indian sociology part was becoming weak on itself. The Marxist sociologists, there were no takers after A.R. Desai, and there were only few, Pathi or somebody like that. But Pathi unfortunately died earlier and did not work much. So there were no takers of Marxist sociologists. What remained was liberal sociology. And the liberal sociology was basically based on post Enlightenment theorem. When Enlightenment philosophers like Immanuel Kant said that henceforth discussion will be on me and the other relationship and not on God. That the basic of philosophy will be discussion on me and other, not on God. So all social sciences emerged as post-enlightenment intellectual exercise. Now, if you take me and the other, what are the patterns of relationship of me and the other? Clearly, Kingsley Davis has written a beautiful book, Human Society, has mentioned that there are three clear dimensions of me and the other. Either I am in conflict with you, or I am in cooperation or harmony with you, or I am in competition with you. The conflict model gave emergence to left ideology and socialist sociology, the way I.R. Desai and Ramakrishna Mukherjee were with us. The competition model gave rise to liberal sociology. It said that I am free to compete with others, and the social institutions have to be competitive institutions. That became very much important, and almost all sociology was based on that. After 1990, when neoliberalism was introduced, uh, the left was almost extinguished. The Indian sociology part was also extinguished. What remained was development through liberal model, development through neoliberal model, and think all our institutions are designed on competition model. Your colleague is your competitor. He is not your colleague, he is your competitor. A mother would tell her child that don't give your notebooks to your fellow colleague. He is your competitor in exam. So we are looking at every other person as competitor, and that sort of uh, ethos have given rise to some issues. Now, what issues have risen and where we are today, that I'll tell you. For example, our liberal sociology is based on three French Revolution ethos: liberty, equality, and fraternity. Now, my freedom is almost gone to market institutions, because when there is centralization, my decision making reduces. There is somebody else, there is market who decides on my behalf, and I have just to obey to market ethos. Then equality. Great French Revolution said we need equality, but then the notion of equality became ascriptive inequality. To abolish ascriptive inequality by birth has to be abolished. But sociology never said, what about inequality that has risen because of the individual achievement, that is education, income, lifestyle, and occupation. Inequality is rising, and sociology has no answer for this. And then fraternity or cooperation. Initially, cooperative economy emerged in Germany. It also emerged partly in India, but then now it is giving way. And we are in a competitive economy, not in cooperative economy. Now, this sort of ethos that has stretched too much towards establishing a competitive, free, centralized economy market model has given rise to problem. Let me tell you one thing. Joseph Stiglitz, who gave advice to American government to establish neoliberalism and hand over everything to market, got Nobel Prize for his thoughts. But around 2003, he realized that he has made a mistake and he wrote a beautiful book, The Roaring Nineties, where he said, I apologize before world community for wrongly advising Clinton. Market is not a solution to all problems. Amartya Sen criticized it. Joseph Piketty criticized it. Several other authors also started criticizing this sort of model, and now we are in search of a new sociology. Now, what are the fissures that has taken place in Indian sociology? That we need to decide first. What is current state of affairs? Now, the problem that has occurred in Indian sociology is that the world is unipolar world. So all our options are gone. We have one type of banking system, we have one type of political system, we have one type of entertainment system, we have one type of TV, media, this. So our options, our democratic options are gone, and search of new democratic options are almost nil. Biggest was environmental crisis. Since we adopted development any sort by any sort, we exploited natural resources, and I did not spell it out where we have reached in our environmental issues, but you should refer to Center for Environmental Studies report that are available with us in what is Indian environmental situation. The reports are with us. Global warming takes place, pollution takes place, and how it takes place. Let me give you, for example, centralization of market gives rise to environmental problem. Amazon doesn't manufacture shoes, but I'll order my shoes to Amazon. In turn, Amazon will say my village cobbler to manufacture shoe and send it to Amazon office. That will generate pollution. Packing by my cobbler will generate pollution, plastic pollution, and sending it by transportation will generate carbon. In turn, Amazon will say, ये packing नहीं चलेगा, this packing won't do. They will repack it. It will again generate pollution. Again, Amazon will send it by transportation to my home. That will generate further carbon. So, even if that pair of shoe is cheaper economically, environmentally it is very costly, and more the centralization, more the environmental issues, and sociologists have no answer. Today, as sociologists we have no answer to what to do with it. We are just trying recycling and small things, but they are not the answers to this. We are in a competitive society and economy. A husband is competitor to wife at home. A colleague is competitor to another colleague at workplace. You are competitor in marketplace. And this competition places a pressure on you, work stress on you. That gives you depression. That gives you several other psychological problems. A Western economist has said that problems are created by economy, but solutions are with psychoanalysis. So that is where we are. Poverty and inequality. Inequality has given rise. Piketty studies are available. Oxfam studies are available. Oxfam studies report of poverty in India is one of the best studies, and unfortunately sociologists do not quote those studies. We are still engaged in family study, marriage study, village study, my caste, that type of studies we are engaged in, and we do not give much headway to this sort of problems. Working conditions have worsened. ILO has clearly said one must work for 8 hours. You work for 8 hours for your family and other personal life, and 8 hours for sleeping. Now, working days have become 14 hours, 12 hours. So if I am working for 14 hours and I am sleeping for 8 hours, I have only 2 hours for my personal life and for my family life. That gives stress and strain to family, increasing problems of family, and we have not yet given enough attention to relationship counseling and family relationship. That is where we are still in those time, joint family, nuclear family, joint family, nuclear family. There market institutions have failed. Market institutions failed because market can solve production problem. Market cannot solve distribution problem. We need civil society institutions. We need also political institutions. It is only politics that can give us a good distributive system. And we are saying that that government is best, that governs least. No, governor, the business of the government is to govern and not business. That we have to remember. So our lifestyle has become unnatural. We are eating packaged food which has five poisons. Excess salt is poison, excess sugar is poison, excess cheese is poison, excess soda, aerated drinks are poison, and excess refined flour, maida, is also a poison, and that kills us, that gives us lifestyle diseases, and that brings many other problems in our working style also. At that juncture of time, our civil space is reducing. Our civil societies are taking a back shift. We had various uh, human rights societies and civil liberty societies and women's liberation societies and subaltern studies, and they are taking a backstage, and we have certain problems. So we are here at this stage that sociology is not able to answer the questions that the neoliberalism has generated, and we are still trying to grapple with our old style of studies. We will have to give response to this newly emerged context. Yes, please go ahead.
So, thank you for highlighting in nutshell the distinct stages of the journey of sociology, various influences on the discipline, different ethos through which the discipline developed, and how market is playing important role, and where and why the discipline of sociology is failing. In fact, in responding to the current challenges generated by the market. And as you were speaking, sir, about Joseph Stiglitz and how he recommended liberalization of markets, and everyone started criticizing him. And probably, if we talk about Jagdish Bhagwati from the
Hmm.
same institute, Columbia Institute, he has written a book, probably in response to his this liberalization of market. How in fact, the name or title of the book is In Defense of Globalization.
Yes, yes.
So, the market is playing important role. There are several challenges that the discipline of sociology is not able to face, or not able to respond to these challenges. So how do you think sociology can respond to these challenges? You have already talked about interdisciplinarity, like economics, politics you are talking about. So what else can we do so that sociology can reinvent itself?
Uh, Together, we will have to evolve a new structure so that we can answer these questions. I am reminded of Open the Social Science report by Valentine, or popularly known as Valentine report, that said that a problem never belongs to one discipline. Problem of poverty doesn't belong to economics only. Now we have multidimensional poverty concept which says that it is sociological, it is psychological also. The problem of suicide doesn't belong to sociology also. It belongs to psychology to some extent, belongs to economics also to some extent. So we will have to have open up social sciences and adopt concepts and paradigms of other social sciences whenever they are relevant to analysis of our problems. So we will have to open up. That is first part that I say. Small specialization will have to go. A problem never belongs to one's narrow specialization. So a new term has come into context in last 5-6 years, that is polymath. A polymath approach is the right approach to analysis of a problem. Uh, what we need is we need new value structure instead of the truncated liberty, equality, and fraternity structure. We need three different ethics, we need three different values, and social scientists have started working on it. For example, Eddie Sofra has written a book on ethics and development. Kaushik Basu and Kanbur have come up with 2 volumes on argument for a better world order. And the first article is ethics and economics. Now I am yet to see a book, ethics and sociology, but that must come nowadays. So ethics means to think of the other. When I am a neoliberal, I think of myself. I think of defeating you in the competitive structure. That won't help. I will have to think of others as much as I think of me. And all our institutions will have to incorporate the ethics criteria. For example, we have ethics committee. Even in pharmacy, you have ethics committee. In some management parlance, we have win-win solutions. We have workers director solutions. So we'll have to bring ethics in a big way in our analysis. Ethics will be a deciding value in our analysis. Second is equity. The value of equity emerged around 1960 in US in public administration field. And they said what is fair and just has to be done in public administration. So in every decision, you have to ask, is it fair to all? Is it satisfying stakeholders, different stakeholders? I worked on Narmada rehabilitation, the great debatable problem. The research and policy planning are me. But I did a stakeholders analysis and asked, if farmers are getting Narmada water, what has happened to land loser tribals? Are they getting anything? And in a democratic situation, every stakeholder group has to get something. Otherwise, the policy will fail and you will have problem in your implementation of policy. So equity has to be there. John Rawls has written a beautiful book on this, and we will have to go to that also, how our legal structure can be molded into that structure. And third is ecology. What is our relationship with environment? When I say environment, I mean 8 elements. Generators, that is all greenery. Operators, that is Pashu, Pakshi, Manav, human beings and all animals. And the degenerators, that is microbes. They are living organisms. They are abiotic elements. And then there are 5 abiotic elements. And when I think or when I make a decision, I have to think of all other elements, what happens to that. When I am using fertilizer, am I killing microbes? When I am making furniture, am I cutting generators? Is it harmful to society or not? That ecological considerations, and we will have to give rise to ecological indicators. Some work has been done by Ramchandra Guha on this issue, but much work has not been done in this area. AI is coming in a big way. I am not anti-machine. At 80, I am using cloud computing. But the question is this: if AI is going to more and more centralize market, then AI is harmful. If AI is going to give more and more services to people, AI is welcome. So under my guidance, a book has been published by Rawat on AI and social ethics, and that says that AI is welcome, but AI needs some monitoring, some strong monitoring by government. Otherwise, it will do harm. Inequality is rising, and we will need to carry out inequality studies. I remember in good old days, we used to study work unit analysis. If you are working for 8 hours, how much you should get? If you are working for 4 hours, how much you should get? What is value of your work in terms of money? Those type of studies have been stopped. And there is casualization of work. You are given task. This is the task. Tell me how much money. No 8 hours duty. So we will have to go back to those days and consider human work as basic. Why people work? There is a beautiful book called Why People Work. People don't work only to earn more and more money. People work to satisfy their basic need and live a quality of life. And that quality of life includes 8 hours work, that includes harmony with others, that includes a peaceful life, that includes a diseaseless lifestyle. So we will have to rethink why people work and re-establish new values, and that needs to be done. We will have to adopt a philosophy of sustainable development. 1969, Club of Rome met and scientists say enough is enough. Now adopt sustainable techniques of production. In 1992, in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, the conference met. I was a part of that conference, and we decided to adopt sustainable development. But no national government has yet adopted sustainable development. They are harming human beings, they are harming world, and we will have to evolve criteria. And look what happens. We failed in Millennium Development Goals, and we came to SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, and we have said by 2030 we will have a sustainable world order. And where we are in our report, check, they are available on net, and check that we have not achieved anything. So we will have to go back to Sustainable Development Goals. Those students who are working for PhD, there are 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and one goal is worth 25 PhD. One goal is worth 25 PhD, and you should look into it. But perhaps Sustainable Development Goals has not yet attracted attention of sociologists in our country. We will have to develop a sort of lifestyle. What is lifestyle? How many hours you should sleep? What you should wear? What you should eat? How you should maintain harmony with others? The UNESCO report of International Commission on Restructuring Education in 1997 said that education is based on 4 pillars: head, heart, hand, and harmony. Harmony means how to live, how do I deal with you? Am I your competitor? No, I am not your competitor. I am cooperating with you. So, pillars of education will have to be based on 4 pillars. Edifice of education will have to be based on 4 pillars, and that we will have to evolve a sort of lifestyle. Now, after 1990, a sort of politically organizing principle that has emerged is majoritarianism. We have Hindu majority, so we have Hindu majority. Other people have other type of majority. Some have religious majority, some have racial majority, some have linguistic majority. So they have other majoritarianism. But that majoritarianism kills the minority rights everywhere, not only in our country. In fact, we are late entry. Rest have entered earlier in this sort of majoritarianism. That has killed our human rights edifice also. So we will have to rethink on it. We will have to rethink about the role of state also. In fact, many of us are doing sponsored project of state, but much less work has been done. I would recommend Ramashray Roy's book on decentralized polity. if a centralized political system takes place, it will be formal democracy, but not the real democracy in decision. I have to decide for myself. Then the democracy is true for me. So if it is village level democracy, which is primary democracy, then it will work. So how to decentralize will have to be decided. Uh, Management science is culprit. In management science, there is a subject called human resource management. I mean, that was started by Elton Mayo, and Elton Mayo called it human relationship. But somehow they did not like human relationship. That's a human resource. Now, human beings are not resource. Finance could be resource, machinery could be resource, land could be resource. Human beings are living beings. How they can be resource? How can you treat human beings as resource? And sociology treats human beings as resource. That has to stop, and we will have to treat living being as living being and nothing more than that. Uh, we will have to have our research. Yes, our research will have to rethink. Enough of empiricism. Enough of empiricism. Now that Gore Damle tradition has come to a stand where everything is survey, statistical analysis, data. Professor Shweta Prasad, suppose you are 50 years and I am 80 years. You were born when I was of 30 years. So I am the earlier variable, you are the later variable in statistical parlance. I am the cause, you are the result in statistical parlance. Whenever there was a rise of 1 year in my age, there was a rise of 1 year in your age. That went right up to 50 years without exception. So my being cause and your being effect probability is 1. Is it so? No. There is no relationship. So statistical relationship is proof of your logical relationship. Don't go to statistical relationship at the relationship. What is your logic? That matters more. And in order that your logic is right, you refer to statistics. That's fine. But what is your logic of deciding in society? That has to emerge. So deductive and inductive both will have to be combined. I think I'll stop here, and if you have many questions or if I have left anything, you may remind me.
Thank you so much, sir. It was very comprehensive. And yes, you're right that sociology has to rethink itself carefully and recalibrate in terms of newer value sets that you spoke about: ethics, equity, and ecology. So, and besides others also, which you highlighted so far. So, thank you so much. It was very comprehensive, and I'm sure we all are going to benefit from it. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you
being
very much.
part of this series. Thank you, sir.
Pleasure. Bye.
Namaskar.